Okay. Okay. So we've calmed down lung energy. Now we're picking up large intestine. Interesting. Other side of the knee, other side of the elbow. Double check again. Is there any further 5-element balance? Just double check. Okay, seems pretty good. So now checking brow, zygoma, pubic bone, hold. Hold. Ah, beautiful. And we're back to normal there. Let's just recheck that grounding balance affirmation because it feels like that's getting there. My spiritual and physical systems are in complete harmony. Hold. Hold. Beautiful. So it is, that one's back to normal, but I'll double check. I deserve to let go of this pattern. Hold. Excellent. So the psychological confusion's gone. And there was this so? I can't remember. I'm going to check whether or not there's survival stuff. I can't remember whether there was. That one's okay. Hold. Hold. Beautiful. So let's go back and check the arm length and the feet. So once again. So it's still a fraction higher on the right than on the left, but it's only about 1/2 inch. Fingers outstretched. That's pretty much perfect with the fingers. Okay. Oh, and I want to check the intuition one as well, since that's sort of, when I use my intuition, I stay grounded. Hold. Hold. Yeah, so that's good too. That's normal. Locks, unlocks when asked to, and locks again. Okay, is there anything further with being grounded? Okay. So back to our notes. Yep. She said, I'm so sad to hear about Shelby, but certainly happy for her as she starts a new journey.
Oh, thank you.
She said, good luck. Please tell her I said good luck. Okay, so I think we need to go into the immune system now, because the mark on the nose that keeps reappearing and the lymph nodes behind the ears. So I'm just going to do a few little things and attach in the immune system. And I'll just make a note. Because with lymphatics, it can be often, you know, good old vitamin C deficiency, or there's herbs like poke root and cleavers and stuff like that that can be beneficial. It's also things like, actually, I don't know whether you can get this around the world, but in Australia, we've got a Blackmore's product called PCIP, which is particularly good for the lymphatics as well. Anyway, I'll check. But nonetheless, let's check the immune system. Hold, 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 hold. Okay, so in the clear, all good. Let's just stack in any and all association with the issues associated with the nose. Hold, okay. Hold, hold. Hold, hold. When I first studied Touch for Health about 20 years ago, one of the things that actually it wasn't Touch for Health, it's NOT, neuroorganizational technique. So this is the immune protocol, or at least part of the immune protocol within NOT. And so you could focus on an area, say, you know, the nose, and then with that in thoughts, you know, so tapping these little guys, this one and this one, sort of in all combinations. So you can even just hold your hand on an area of the body. Tapping those is like putting a needle in an acupuncture and giving it a wiggle. So. And I'm terrified of needles, so not going to happen for me. I've been thinking about booking in with Rob recently, but I'm like, no, I don't want the needles. He loves the needles.
You know you get the good results that way. Though.
I know. Darn it. Yeah, because I know I need a retweaking after falling off the bike a few weeks ago. So I can just feel my hips aren't quite right. And
has your hamstring recovered?
It has pretty well now. So I think I've been through about a bottle of Stem Enhance and bottle of Inflavanoid Intensive Cares, and yeah, that's done quite well, I think.
That's good. Sorry, I just remembered when I was doing my diploma, we were studying different muscular strains and pulls and things like that. And when I was studying and doing an assignment on groin pulls, I pulled my groin during soccer.
Oh no! So you were the perfect case study.
Yeah, chucked in a little personal example there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I was doing Bowen technique, that was 25 plus years ago up in Cooktown. And she said, I think there were 4 of us in the class, and she said, okay, does anyone here have hematoes? And we all went, no. And so she said, okay, well, who wants to be an example on the table? And it was about taping it and, you know, sort of just manipulating the toes. And so I said, oh, well, I'll jump up on the table. And she said, hey, look here, we've got some great hematoes. So I had hematoes and I had no idea.
I think I found out I had the early stages of the scoliosis I have now when they were looking for an example.
Yeah, right. Which test did they do?
They were just
like bending forward and seeing whether
yeah, and like just tracing your fingers down the spine and going whoop.
Yeah.
It wasn't that dramatic, but
yeah,
it'd be very concerning if it was that dramatic. Yeah. Yeah, just one of those straightforward tests.
Yeah, and I think I've told you this before. There was like Carl Ferrari who taught the NOT. I first learnt with Trevor Savage and then with Carl Ferrari. But NOT, neuroorganizational technique, is the structural balancing thing. And he didn't realise there was a way that the brain was working that was connected to the structure at the time, because he was a straight chiropractor for many years. And then he started studying kinesi. Anyway, so he did a thing in New York where they invited all these parents of ADHD kids because he had a manipulation of the cranial stuff that was helping some kids with ADHD. So in order so that they got the equivalent of our health fund rebates, they did x-rays on their spines so that their health fund would cover a bit of it.
Ah, okay.
But they found that in nearly all the cases of ADHD, there was actually a bit of a scoliosis.
Huh.
So he thought, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
200 people in the audience and most of them had little scolioses. Which of course in ADHD, because it's related to fight and flight, it sort of makes sense, down the track. But at the time it was quite new.
Yeah.
It's like Dr. Andy Wakefield, connecting the gut and the brain, which is now commonplace knowledge, but he's the reason why we know about that. So I'm just stacking in the little lymph thing. So there is some emotional gear in there in relation to that, in the amygdala, but I'm going to do another layer of that. So in underneath the jaw, those little areas in there, if they're a bit tender, that's a sign that the lymph underneath the jaw is congested. Wiggling your hyoid bone back and forth just sort of lets you know how scratchy it all feels in there. It's a little muscle up through here.
Sternocleidomastoid.
Ah, that's it. Well done. Thank you. That little guy. And stacking in the little muscles at the back of the neck as well. So just stacking all that in, the brain goes into escape, submission, freeze, wanting to run away. So no wonder there's still a little bit of a gate on the right, because that's like the foot at the door. And especially because it's your masculine side playing up, the right lymph nodes, the right nose, the right pain, the right knee. There's a homeopathic we need. Just a sec. Okay, so this is Metox, which is it's homeopathic heavy metal detox. So the homeopathics don't do great detoxes the way that, zeolites and things like that do. But the homeopathics, what they really do is get the body recognizing heavy metals so that the body can do the next layer of actually, but it is a full dose, so it's 10 drops.
I'll need to find a new excuse to have my microdoses of brandy.
Exactly. Yeah, say to Tash, I was stressed with my study. I needed some flower essences. I think I went through a jar of jacaranda when I was doing biochemistry and chemistry because it's for brain integration and stuff. It was one of my big stresses. I think after I got rid of those 3 subjects, then it was all just fun from there. Oh, no, no, that's not true. Medical terminology.
Oh, yeah.
Because in those days it wasn't on computer either. So you'd get these big books turn up, and because the spelling errors were so bad in the books that would turn up, which was shocking because there wasn't spell check on computers in those days.
Yeah.
Or whatever that, or maybe they just typed them out on a Duncan typewriter, I don't even know. But that's how long ago it was. But so far your course seems well organised.
Yeah, it feels
good.
like it's really well done.
Nice. Oh no, there's still something else going on. So let me think. Oh, okay. So the drainage, so the lymph drainage from the face, the neck, If this is all too tight in here, the pec minors, then there's a whole bunch of lymph nodes in behind here. So, hold up. Yeah, so they're too tight. So your pec minors are too tight. Breathe in, breathe out and lift. And breathe in, breathe out and lift. Breathe in, breathe out and lift. And hold. And breathe in, breathe out and lift. And breathe in, breathe out and lift. And breathe in, breathe out and lift. Beautiful. Okay, so that's activated another reticular activating. So I do wonder whether that neck shoulders is just linked in with some stress. So anytime you're doing, oh, actually, there's sort of like a, just sort of thinking about stuff you can do at home when it's playing up. This here is from a technique called body talk. So it's basically saying, okay, brain, okay, heart. So by putting your hand on any area in your body and then tapping your head and your heart, you're saying, okay, brain, okay, heart, what's going on here? So when you are doing little stretches with your shoulders or doing little stretches with your neck, if you're actually then tapping head and heart a few times, that'll allow the brain to start going, oh, okay, are we set at the right tightness? Do we need to adjust ourselves? Actually, because of the neck and shoulders, I'll check the whiplash. Just make sure that's not playing up. So lift your head, hold up, don't let me push down. Turn and hold and hold. That's all perfect. Hold down, don't let me lift up, and head up, and don't let me push down. Okay, so there is a whiplash there. So that will be making the neck and the shoulders tighter than it should be. So I'll just sort of push to mush. And lengthen to strengthen. And the whiplash is in relation to wanting to run away again. We can, and I learnt this through Sanu again, we can actually have emotional whiplashes, spiritual whiplashes, physical whiplashes, where we think we've moved on with something and some energy just drags us straight back in again. So from a whiplash perspective, it can be, you know, spiritual, mental, physical, emotional. And again, which is why I usually do the amygdala in relation to it anyway. Hold down for me and head up and hold up. Beautiful. Now put your right hand on the right jaw and lift and hold up for me. Yeah, so stress jaw is that, this might be throwing out the hips and therefore the knee as well. So I'm going to do a cranial injury correction with my little eyes open, eyes closed, it's dark, eyes open. 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 Okay, so lifting your head, right hand, right jaw, and hold up for me. Beautiful. Now, let's go back once again, recheck the compressions and lengthening, compressions and lengthening. Check your knees and knees, femurs, hold, hold. Beautiful. Yeah, right, so just pointing out again, so what I was doing with the skull bones is basically pulling out in all directions. So we've got like bones across here, so giving them a gentle little stretch, giving these a stretch. The parietal bones are here, so sort of, you know, sort of stretching in all directions with the cranial bones, because when we're under stress and pressure, our cranial bones can compress. And therefore our brain isn't getting the gentle little massage that it should be getting all day, every day, which is only microscopic, obviously. It's not like we see each other's heads, you know, moving like crazy aliens every day. So, but there's a microscopic movement that's massages the brain in underneath there, which massages the little organs in there, the pituitary, pineal, hypothalamus, hippocampus, etc., etc. Just a little side thing from last time. She said your socks were adorable.
Oh, thank you. I've got little birdies on one foot and spots and a cat face on the other. For anyone that's interested.
They will be. We need to do a little bit more about you speaking your truth in the few minutes we've got left. So it's I feel honoured when speaking my truth. Hold. That was a no, by the way. I feel heard when speaking my truth. Hold. Okay. Let's see what those two bring up. Okay, so there is a hidden deep survival pattern in relation to that. Hold. Okay. EMC, MMC, PVSS, memory reward. Okay, so that's messing with your memory reward systems in the body. And hold. Okay, so it messes with your short-term memory, where your short-term doesn't bother remembering stuff unless you're getting something out of it. So it's like that pain and punishment thing. If you're only going to get negative feedback from something, why would you bother remembering it? So the memory is messing with you when you're not feeling heard and honoured, which is fair enough. You want to forget that stuff, but sometimes it does the opposite and actually makes it stay in the short term and messes with it, because what it's doing is switching off your pleasure reward centres. And hold. Beautiful. Hold. Yeah. And there is an old specific pain and punishment circuit in there in relation to not being heard, not being honoured. And that one's fear, threat, danger, that it will happen again. I deserve to be heard. I deserve to be honoured. And hold. Beautiful. And hold. Okay, so this time it's long-term memory and it's long-term not feeling like you're getting anything out of the thing. So once again, why bother speaking your truth? So short-term memory is up to about 3 weeks. Then there's an intermediate memory and then there's a long-term memory. By the time things that have hurt us become long-term, it's hardwired into the brain with the emotional trauma that was connected at the time, which is why the amygdala can keep bringing it out. So every time the brain feels like we're going through something similar, it can bring that little baby out again. And hold. Beautiful. And hold. Excellent. Yeah, and when you're not honoured and heard, it can mess with your serotonin dopamine release. And hold. And that doesn't actually help us to speak our truth, because then we get muddled, we get flustered, we get emotional. People see us just getting angry or frustrated as opposed to actually hearing what we're trying to say. So it sort of messes with us when we're not able to stay cool and calm and clear in our delivery. But it's hard when we get passionate too. I know. And hot. Beautiful. Auditory integration. Hold. Okay, so auditory integration is when we're feeling emotional and we are taking on something that may or may not be accurate. So you might be hearing what someone is saying, but because we're emotional, we hear it from a different perspective. So, you know, it's like when we use sarcasm. Sarcasm, there's always a hint of the truth in there. But our truth can be, but we can hear things as sarcastic or gnarly when it's not quite meant to be either, because we've got an emotional connection to what we're saying.
Tash has an issue when I say, I'm sorry you feel that way, because I mean it genuinely, but she's so used to, you know, people who say it, I'm sorry you feel that way, you know, and that kind of
yeah, it's all about you. There was actually an exercise in something I did once where they had exactly the same sentence, and the exercise was exactly that, to use a different enunciation or tone with each word, and it made a totally different sense of the sentence.
Yeah.
5 words in a sentence, 5 totally different meanings. Quite amazing. I deserve to be heard. Hold. Beautiful. I deserve to be honoured. Hold. Excellent. So I hope you don't wake up grumpy this time. She felt a bit grumpy when she woke up last time.
Oh no.
Well, the energy shifts, you know, so she'll be asleep at the moment. When she wakes up, we've already messed with her brain. So it is fair. So it's sort of like, so see how you go this time. Love hearing your feedback. And for those who want to see Shelby's socks, you know. Cute as. Bye-bye, Shelby.
Bye, everyone.
Talk to you soon, Michele.